Hello everyone, Gores here. I had the opportunity to host the second common charity tournament on Dueling Book. These are going to be happening every day. If you want to enter in number 3, I will put the link for the tournament in the Discord down below. With that being said, we had 9 players today. A new player who had never even played the format ended up into top 4 with Lunalight, losing to Crystron. It was a crazy game. And then here in the finals, we have Blue Eyes versus Crystron. Now, this Crystron player won yesterday, and Where You Been yesterday got knocked out in the first round. So let's see how this one goes. So the Blue Eyes player is starting us off. They activate Dragon Ravine and then pitches off the White Dragon Spirit, sending the White Stone of Ancients from deck to grave, then setting 3 cards face down, including Fists of the Unrivaled Tenyi, which has some synergy here, because every end phase they just get to summon a big normal monster, and that'll let them use the Fists. So Crystron player draws here, has a pretty good hand going into pretty much any other deck here. Normal summons Smyger, links off into Almirage, uses the effect of Smyger to search out Crystron Inclusion, activates Inclusion. The Where You Been is thinking about using that Fist, but he just lets it go through. Pretty smart there. Uses the effect of Sulfador, pops the Inclusion, summons the Sulfador, tries to use the effect, gets hit with Infinite Impermanence, and unfortunately for Crystron player, he doesn't have any extenders, so he's just going to have to set this Super Poly and pass. Goes straight to battle phase here, attacks Almirage. The Crystron player avoids damage by tributing the Almirage, and then instead redeclares, swings over Sulfador, uses the effect of Ravine to pitch Ravine and send Whitestone from deck to grave. End phase uses Whitestone of Ancients to summon out Blue Eyes Jet Dragon, allowing him to avoid destruction effects. And then from here, the Crystron player starts with a top deck inclusion, but Fist of the Unrivaled Tenyi is going to negate it. To which the Crystron player says, I guess. That's a Tenyi card. Normal summons out the Crystron Smyger, tries to use the effect, but called by the grave causes the Crystron player to scoop. Wild. And then from here, we're going to go into this next game. They open pretty suboptimal, the Crystron player here. They open double Citry, double Cluster, and Sulfafnir. Not the best, but it could be worse. So they start off with Citry, then use the effect of Sulfafnir, pitching Cluster, then destroying the Sulfafnir. Sulfafnir triggers and summons Sulfador from deck, and then they send Thistvern and Smyger from deck to graveyard. From there, they use the effect of Thistvern, banishing to search out the Crystron Ryon, and then from there, they use the effect of Smyger to search out Inclusion, activates Inclusion, searches out the Crystron cluster, then Synchro 7 into Ella Skeletus, sets 2 cards. Forgot to use the Ella Skeletus, but looks like the Blue Eyes player is going to be nice even here in the finals and let him add back his Smyger. So, Blue Eyes player draws the Godarla that he probably sided in, then activates the Pot of Extravagance, banishing 6, drawing 2, summons out the Kaiju, activates Ravine, pays cost, discards a White Stone of Ancients. Tron player is going to Chain Cluster, shuffling back the Thisvern, and popping the Dragon Ravine. From there, the Blue Eyes player reveals a Blue Eyes and summons Alternative, and then no fear for the back row here, swings directly over the Godarla, goes to main 2, sets 1 end phase, triggers the effect of the White Stone, special summoning the Blue Eyes Jet Dragon from hand. I don't know if this is necessarily the best line. I feel like they're just trying to protect themselves from the Crystron cluster, though, because at least if they pop the Jet Dragon, they won't be able to pop the Alternative. But I don't think it matters in this matchup since they can just make the Ella Skeletus. Crystron player uses the effect of Sulfador, only for them to chain a Called by the Grave again, as the Crystron player says. Ben hits him with the Yes Sir, and then Crystron player proceeds to do combo anyway, summons back the Sulfefnir, normal summons the Citry, Synchro 7 into Ella Skeletus, uses the forgets to use the effect again, uses the effect of Inclusion to summon back Ella Skeletus, and then targets to pop both. Jet protects the other one. Crystron player says true. Luckily, the Ella Skeletus stacks, dropping that alternative dragon down to 1,000 attack, hits him for 600, then hits him for 26 direct. The Blue Eyes player draws, activates their second copy of Pot of Extravagance here, drawing 2 cards, draws True Light and Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. Not the best top deck here, but Harpy's Feather Duster is definitely going to put in some work here, as the Crystron player says, I hate it here. Banishes the White Stone of Ancients to add back the alternative dragon, revealing the Blue Eyes in hand to summon it. and then uses the effect to pop the Eloskeletus, which he's just going to use to bring back the Sitri. At the end of main phase, uses the Sitri to bring back Sulfnir and Synchro, makes the Eloskeletus, and then adds back the Inclusion here. Oh, it's an interesting choice. Activates Inclusion, uses the effect to search, grabs a Sulfidor here, uses the effect of Sulfidor to summon itself, then triggers the Sulfidor to send Sulfefnir and Smyger. Inclusion brings back that third copy of Eloskeletus, swings over the Blue Eyes alternative dragon, attacks directly with Eloskeletus, only for the Blue Eyes player to summon out the Blue Eyes from hand, which gets destroyed, and now the Jet Dragons are live. The first Jet Dragon comes back, it attempts to swing, it uses the effect. He targeted the wrong one, which I believe that they even talk about in chat. Yeah, they were talking. I think these two were in Discord together. And then he uses the effect of Jet Dragon to bounce, sets a card, passes it back to Ben. Ben draws for turn, thinks here, activates Dragon Ravine, which is a really good draw for him here. Uses the effect of True Light to get back the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Moves to battle phase, swings into the Sulfidor, bounces back the Eloskeletus, and then Crystron player draws for turn after losing 1100. Normal summons out the Crystron Smyger, activating Torrential Tribute, which triggers the second copy of Jet Dragon in Graveyard, and then Eloskeletus brings back the Sitri. They banish the Smyger to search out Inclusion. And then from here, they go ahead and activate the Inclusion, brings back the Sulfidor, Synchro 7 into the Eloskeletus. Eloskeletus effect searches, adds back the Crystron cluster, excuse me, banishes Inclusion to summon back Eloskeletus, bounces the second copy back, swings over the Jet Dragon again, goes to main 2, summons out the Sulfnir, and then destroys itself, gets the Sitri, sets cluster. On the end step, he's going to use the True Light to set the ultimate fusion. Draws for turn. It's Dragon Spirit of White, not the best card you want to see here. And then the Blue Eyes player forgot to use White Stone, but that's perfectly fine. Uses the effect of True Light to bring back Blue Eyes. And then the Crystron player says, thinking, wait, chains the cluster, targeting the Jet Dragon, just so that they can pop it, because then I believe that they will have, yeah, they have no copies of Blue Eyes. It might have been smarter for this Blue Eyes player to use the Ravine first to send a Vanilla just in case of cluster, but I don't think it matters here because Blue Eyes Tyrant Dragon is here, and he is not good for the opponent here. He sends the Blue Eyes, swings with Tyrant Dragon, takes some damage, triggers the Eloskeletus, triggers the Jet Dragon, brings it back, brings back Sitri. Sitri's going to summon back Sulfefnir and Synchro Summon here. Makes Eloskeletus. The Tyrant Dragon just gets to keep attacking, though. They trigger the effect, they have no targets. And then already used the effect. And then swings directly with the Blue Eyes Jet Dragon. And I don't know why they added back Sitri there. That's a little weird. And then they just scoop it up. Blue Eyes taking the win. Make sure you guys stay tuned. We're going to go ahead and get into these deck profiles now. If you haven't already watched the first one, this is the same exact list that won our first daily tournament. The deck is super cracked and a little bit hard to keep track of sometimes, and this player is new to the game entirely, and Common Charity is actually the format that's bringing them back. It's an interesting format to start the game back up with. I think that lets them like kind of ease into Advanced. I know this is the deck that they picked up to play in Advanced, so shout out to them. They're piloting it pretty well. They're just a bit of a newer player, so they're going to mess up from time to time, so try to be nice in the comments section, y'all. All right, let's get into this first place list. This first place list is really cool. I really like this. It's got a lot of neat little text. I haven't really seen a lot of people do a version like this in Common Charity before. So they've got 3 copies of Alternative, 3 copies of Jet, Dragon Spirit of White, 3 White Stone of Ancient, 2 Blue Eyes, and then a staple with Called by the Grave, 3 copies of Dragon Ravine. This was the MVP for this player all day. This card went nuts, y'all. 3 copies of Extravagance, 3 copies of Melody, 3 copies of Ultimate Fusion. Seems like a little much. Maybe 2 is a little bit smarter, but 3 seems pretty good. And then they have Fists, Imperm, Solemns. 6 copies of Solemns is just enough to tilt anybody. And then we have one copy of Ultimate Creature Destruction. This card probably came in pretty clutch. Two copies of True Light. For the side deck, they're on 3 Baldrake and 2 DD Crow. This is just a lot of hate for a bunch of different decks, such as Goki and Lunalight, I feel. And then they have the Kaiju package and a Feather Duster. And then the extra deck is just 3 ofs of cards that they're actually going to summon. They got 3 copies of Tyrant Dragon, the Spirit Dragons. Lightstorm Dragon seems pretty decent. 3 copies of Spheres and an Almirage. That's it for today, y'all. Make sure you tune in for Common Charity number 3. And again, I will put the links for these decks as well as the tournament in the description box down below. If you guys aren't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. And if you haven't been able to play in one of these events, don't worry. They happen every day at 12 EST. And on Saturday, we're doing the first weekly Swiss. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. This is Gores hopping off.